you think about the Gypsy community? Which is the first things that come into your mind if I say Gypsy, traveller community?
Well, I have known Gypsies, and they're a community of their own. They brought up with different concepts. They travel because they want to travel. They've got as much opportunity as anybody to settle down in a house, and some of them do. But it's the way, it's their culture, it's the way they want to live.
Oh, I think it will be a bad word, but it's coming from my country. It's like they are a thief, because usually when we have the Gypsy in our country, they've been stealing from us.
They've always been around. They don't tend to cause too much trouble, do they?
Well, you only hear bad things about them, to be honest.
For example?
When they go outside, they leave a lot of dirt behind.
Well, all I know about Gypsies is what I know experienced as a child. You know, they lived in the camp, they were in school with me, they were just like everybody else.
If you were Gypsies, they think of you as being untidy and dirty, and have Gypsy in my family, I know that's not true.
Okay. Have you ever experienced some kind of discrimination?
Yes, I wear Arab clothes nearly all the time, and I know my neighbours around here and dressed as a Muslim, and many of them, even with my latest marvellous award that I've had, a lot of people don't like me now, and I've had bricks at the window, dog mess and nasty phone calls. We had some of those yesterday.
Not when I'm in school. I'd say my schools I've been in, like I say I'm a Roma Gypsy, and they say, well, like, we don't care, like, you're Gypsy, you're equal to us. They do treat me as equals. I've had some few, like, people saying, like, Gyppo, and, like, the usual names that they come with a traveller, but, like, my theatre group, they're wonderful to me. Mm-hmm. And, like, where I am from, we are treated as equals, but we have come across some discrimination, my whole family.
But why do you think there is this?
I don't know, it's like, I think it's gone through the ages, like from the grandparents that told the children, and their children's told their children.
One lady just the other day said that somebody shouted over the fence they shouldn't be giving houses to Gypsies like you.
Okay.
And she said to me, these people that were shouting at me are on drugs, my family aren't on drugs, my family don't get into trouble, my son's in university.
Yeah.
You know,
mm-hmm.
It's a problem, you know, that perhaps the blame can lie with the mainstream population as well, not giving people a fair crack of the whip.
And some systems are corrupt, as in the sense, if you were aside a road, you couldn't register at the local GP because you need a postcode to register. So that model excludes Gypsies and travellers, and also people that actually travel Esher roads. Mm-hmm. So we need to make sure that these models in place are actually incorporated of all our members of our, society, and actually don't exclude certain members.
What is the reaction of local people to have a Gypsy community near their home?
It can be bad. I'll be honest. Obviously, there was an established site for many years in a place called Morva here. Mm-hmm. And that'd been there for so many years that I don't think people complained about it, because nobody could remember a time when that site hadn't been there. Perhaps they'd have an issue with individuals, but then when they wanted to move this site to another place, there was things in the press and things saying, why does it have to come here, and why us, and things like this.
Do you think that they are discriminated, or they are well integrated in the community?
I think a lot of people have some funny ideas about them, so I think they probably are discriminated against. Yeah.
Not from my experience, I wouldn't say yes.
Too much prejudice against them, and I think that people can't trust them, because they obviously have to live by their wits, really. So people are inclined to think that they steal and that they cause trouble and all this sort of thing, which really is wrong. They're left to live their lives the way they should.
I think there's always issues with a settled community and sort of a mobile community.
What you see on television, what you hear about them, the bad press about them. Yeah, some of them probably are bad, but it's they're brought up differently. I don't think they're dirty, as people say they're dirty, and no, they're not. If you get to know them, they can be quite nice people.
I've actually got a slide where I've got headlines that have been in newspapers that are actually about Gypsy travellers. And if you remove that word Gypsy or traveller and put in any other ethnic group or minority, that wouldn't be acceptable to the press. Equality and Human Rights Commission have done a lot of work, and you know they say that racism against Gypsies is the only form of racism that's still accepted in Britain today.
It's important to get good media coverage. I mean, media is a portal for people all around the world sort of dip in. You know, people who actually might have an interest or just might know what it is. So often people assume what gypsies and travellers are. Actually never actually met a gypsy or like a traveller, but I think the media has a really important role really to make sure that they portray the community, in the most positive light, because often or not they always tend to go for the negative.
But I think more programmes is coming out now of the travelling gypsy community, and I think more people's watching, they learn more about the travelling community and how they work, and I think the discrimination is dying down for travellers since these programmes have come on television.
I think it's getting worse because of the big fat gypsy wedding.
Yeah.
That's what I think, because people's looking at that then, I'm not saying that they're not doing no bad, because everybody's different. But people's looking at that, and then when they see us in the street, they'll think, oh, we're there like them. But we're not.
There's a different part of the Romney culture. They're Irish travellers, where my family is Welsh traveller. So it's like some like rules and traditions are kept the same, but we don't wear such like revealing outfits, and we don't like tend to show off.
Yeah.
Like I'm a gypsy, so like I can beat you, I can do this, I can do that. We tend to be more quieter, but we do stand around the same, like we equals.
Bad stories always sell papers, so we can't ever think there'll be a time when the negative side of anything won't be reported on.
My auntie lived on Herringston in Ogilvie. I believe it was the Gypsy encampment there, and I used to spend a lot of my time there with them. And it was wonderful. It was living a new life, and also, as I said, my granny was Spanish Gypsy, Moorish because but Arab, and when I was living with her as well, it was a wonderful way of life. It's going out there, getting dirty, eating your food, growing your own food and growing your own veg, and I'd like to see more of that. It's not a dream, it's a reality.
Well, living on a site is like you're living with your family. It's like you see the people you know all day, you're safe around your family. Well, live in a house, your neighbours you don't hardly know, and you're not sure if you're safe like walking out on the street or something. But when you're on a site, you're safe. You know you're safe. When you have children of your own, then you know they're going to be safe. It's more like a tight-knit community. It's like very, very protective of the children.
The good things about their culture is that they stick together as families. They very much stick together as families because they know that they can't rely on anybody else.
So what do you think it has to be done to reduce this type of stereotypes and common perception?
The biggest factor, I think, would be to break down barriers, carry on engaging with hard-to-reach communities and groups. I think the Multicultural Network has played a good part by having events on a regular basis where lots of different groups of people are actually involved in sitting down and talking and understanding.
We do need to educate. I'm using that word very carefully. We have to educate and re-educate politicians and people in authority who seem to mislead others. They just don't know.
I mean, we are quite lucky right now. We've worked with the Welsh Government on a new teacher resource pack. It's been trialled right now in initial schools and will be launched in September. So come September, we'll be teaching the Gypsy woman travel culture on the national curriculum. So that's a nice positive change here in Wales, certainly. But we've just now only became on the initial census in 2011, and the Roman Gypsies have been in the UK since the 1500s, and so in 2011 we actually appeared on the initial census. So, so it'd be interesting to see what that data, what sort of data comes out from there.
Well, first of all, I think it all comes back to resources, and I think they've got to be, resources have to be made available for everybody. and I think, you know, sort of you've got to make sure that, you know, sort of like people have jobs, people have houses, people have the, you know, the basics, the fundamentals to life, and you know, sort of once you make sure that, you know, sort of all these are adequately provided for, then, you know, we can talk about how we can sort of like develop our communities.
A lack of information? Yeah, I suppose there is in a way. I mean, maybe people aren't willing to go out and learn as well. Maybe they don't want to know more about people and think they have to sort of blend to our culture, whereas we should, you know, there should be a middle point.
We need to see a change now. We need to see that gypsies and travellers are actually not just at the front line, but also at the management level, feeding into this consultation.
But wouldn't it be nice if something good was reported on occasionally too? I mean, there must be people from a traveller background serving in the army in Afghanistan as we speak. All sorts of things like that that they could be proud of. Perhaps there's people in the Olympics, perhaps like things like that. But I bet you that the press don't pick up on these things.
And if we all live to love one another and to learn from each other, do you know, you'll be a far better person.